Number 10. Sandwiched car. Motor vehicle accidents are at most times the worst kind of accidents to ever encounter. The sudden impact, along with shock and fright, are usually what sends most victims to the ER, than the actual accident itself. After all, some accidents aren't such a big deal, but you can imagine being sandwiched by two massive tractor trailers, both just inches away from crushing your skull. Well, not many will experience an accident like this, much less to actually come out alive. But tell this to 36-year-old Caleb Whitby from Oregon, who surpassed all odds and made it out alive. It was late one evening while coming home from work when he crashed into the rear of a tractor trailer. To his surprise, his car spun out of control and crashed in another trailer traveling in the opposite direction. This catastrophic disaster caused a massive traffic jam for several hours. Alive today, all Caleb can remember are the bright shining lights from paramedics and firefighting teams who worked relentlessly for more than 6 hours to remove him from his vehicle, perfectly wedged between two huge trailers. Miraculously, he walked away scratch-free. Number 9. Plane crash. Today, some passengers are so fearful of flights that they use applications on their phones to calculate the odds of a disaster on a particular flight. Unbelievable. Passengers would input 3 variables: the departure and arrival airports, the airline, and the type of plane. Although the details and methodology of these applications are not exactly known, one might presume that it is a simple weighting of the proportion of crashes associated with each of those variables in the past. According to aviation surveys, most people would rather die in a car accident than a plane crash. In fact, when asked why they felt this way, 9 out of 10 people responded by saying that plunging to their deaths is far more terrifying than an average car crash. Hell, I agree with them. In May 2014, a pilot while flying solo lost both engines of his aircraft to a flock of birds during a practice session of aerial acrobatics. Gliding the aircraft to safety, the pilot crashed into a Colorado residency, completely destroying the house. The pilot managed to survive, and so did all the occupants inside the house at the time of the crash. All were unharmed and unscratched. Geez, I'm glad I wasn't on that plane. That would have been one scary landing. Number 8. Superboy. They say angles are always protecting us, especially children. This next accident can truly attest to that fact 100%. In Brazil, a speeding car collides head-on with a parked car. The impact was so forceful that the parked car launched forward at such a speed, a 56-year-old woman and her 5-year-old grandson, who were walking innocently on the sidewalk, had practically no time to react. Stunned by the sudden smashing sound, both were consumed by the car in seconds. The car managed to roll over both victims twice, the body and head of the child, and then the legs and the back of his grandmother. Video footage revealed that while under the car, the boy managed to raise his head to see where his grandmother had fallen. Shaken up from the accident but unharmed, the boy got up and walked over to his grandmother, who laid motionless on the pavement in complete shock. Incredibly, both were taken to a nearby hospital and released after x-rays and other examinations revealed they were completely fine. Number 7. Scared of heights? Falling from great heights is a sure way to secure your death. Heights of over 5 stories or 50 feet is a great indicator you will never walk again. You will eventually die from internal bleeding, and unfortunately or fortunately, depends how you look at it, the doctors in the ER have other patients to attend to. Usually when someone falls from such heights, if they survive, it would be a miracle. Timothy Mazurzak is that walking miracle today. He survived a 70-foot fall from the edge of a cliff, and all he received were minor bruises. It was one afternoon Mazurzak and his best friend Jim Rodney were hiking in New York's Letchworth State Park when he got too far out on the cliff's edge. With strong wind speeds and his heavy hiking gear, he slipped. It took the rescue team approximately 3 hours to rescue him. Astonishingly, at the hospital, he was visited and ticketed by state park troopers for hiking prohibited park trails. Number 6. Sandwiched cyclist. Cyclists put their lives on the line every day, continuously cycling congested roadways and busy streets, some even without helmets or proper gear. But no matter how skilled or vigilant a rider you are, there is always a possibility of crashing or meeting in an accident thanks to those careless and reckless drivers who somehow forget you exist. One Russian cyclist learned his lesson the hard way. He was caught in a sandwich between an SUV and a trailer truck after both vehicles crashed at an intersection. The cyclist survived unbelievably unscratched and unharmed. I guess this guy's timing was impeccable. If he left his foot on the brake or pedaled a little harder, he would have gotten completely smashed and ended up in the hospital to the possibility of never seeing another day. Number 5. Beat up BEEMER. People have beaten the odds, and many have walked away from some of the most breathtaking and phenomenal accidents ever to occur. But when you pass a car on the highway impaled by a guardrail, you can't help but to think of the worst. South African football genius Rui Mahumutsa of the Orlando Pirates proved that an impaled car doesn't necessarily mean death. Unexplainable and amazingly so, Mahumutsa survived this horrific ordeal unharmed and untouched. Mahumutsa walked away from this unimaginable wreckage safe and alive, despite the 10-foot-long, 500-pound guardrail plunging through the windshield of his slick 2015 white BMW. Just like a dart hitting a bullseye. His car was like a shish kebab on the guardrail. Good thing he didn't get eaten alive. Number 4. Beastly buffalo. Bison, or buffalo as they are sometimes called, are large, even-toed ungulates that, for many years now, are on the verge of extinction. A bison temperament is often unpredictable. They usually appear peaceful, unconcerned, even lazy, yet they may attack anything, often without warning or apparent reason. They can move at speeds up to 35 miles per hour or 56 kilometers per hour, and cover long distances at a lumbering gallop. One man got what he was looking for when he visited the Antelope Island State Park in Utah, and provoked the beast. The 2,000-pound beast charged at him so fast, pinning him to the fence while ramming him over and over again. Some say that because he was pinned to the fence, this may have aided in his survival, because if he had been trampled by the beast, he would have died from severe hemorrhages to vital internal organs, only to die instantaneously on the spot. Luckily for this tourist, he walked away unharmed from this fierce and brutal encounter, as well as a reminder never to ever trouble a bison again. Number 3. Lucky lightning. Lightning is a sudden electrostatic discharge that can be seen during most thunderstorms or other extreme weather conditions. Lightning is produced due to electrostatic interaction between electrically charged regions of a cloud and another cloud or a cloud in the ground. The charged regions in the atmosphere temporarily equalize themselves through this discharge, referred to as a strike. If it hits an object on the ground, in this case, it was not an object, but a couple. This young and romantic couple from California are finding it hard to believe that the formula for their survival was because they were holding hands. The teens thought it would be romantic to elope in a thunderstorm when they were hit by a 1 billion volt lightning. The high voltage swept them off their feet and threw them to the ground. Miraculously, they survived. State physician Stefan Reynoso said they managed to survive simply because they were holding hands. By holding hands, this couple managed to diffuse the high electrical current that propagated through their bodies. Quite romantic, don't you think? Number 2. The drag racer. Speeding, driving, drugs, and alcohol just don't quite fit in the same sentence. For drag racers, speeding is a life, and with every race being an unimaginable life-threatening risk, these roadhogs sometimes just can't help but to push themselves and their cars to the limit. One drag racer at Pikes Peak International Raceway saw the light during his race while driving his 1955 turbocharged Chevy. With an aggressive look and a modern appeal, this GT baby managed to fishtail and collide with another race car during a track meet. With titanium roll cage crossbeams, this Chevy flipped through the air like a coin, tossed miles in the air, before crashing into the advertisement boards on the side of the track. Although the body of the driver somehow pierced the windshield, he walked away alive with few brushes and a little memory lost. Number 1. Car split in half. Car crashes just don't get better than this. A junior race car driver in Thailand wanted to impress his friends when he lost control of his costume-built Lamborghini Gallardo, which crashed and split somehow in two, with a customized center console to fit temperature and voltmeters, customized carbon fiber panels, as well as an upholstered dash with carbon fiber trim. This modified rocket would give any driver a run for his money. Amazingly, after the crash, embarrassed and holding his head down, the driver emerged from the car and went on his cell phone. To date, he attributes his survival to the Buddhist amulet he was wearing that morning of the crash.